Hey guys, welcome to this thing called life. We're gonna talk about something or some kids differently today than what I normally talk about. We're gonna talk about 5-year-old Haley Cummings that went missing from Satsuma, Florida, in 2009, February 9th, 2009. Um, a lot of people don't talk about her case much anymore. I very well remember when she went missing, and I followed it. But it hasn't been talked about in a while. Her father, Ronald Cummings, and his 17-year-old at the time girlfriend slash caregiver for the babies, um, Misty Crosland, was home with them the night that Haley um, went missing, and apparently Ronald was at work. There's been a lot of rumors that have circulated about as far as what happened to Haley. To this day, nobody knows. Nobody has talked. Nobody has come forward. Her body has never been found. Haley had some medical issues. She had a thing called Turner syndrome. Basically, it stunted her growth and caused some heart issues and stuff. And she was short for her age as a result of this. She was only 3 feet tall and weighed 39 pounds at 5 years old at the time of her disappearance. So the story goes she was sleeping in her bed in the family's trailer in the 200 block of Green Lane in the area of Hermit's Cove in Satsuma, Florida. She went to bed, according to Crosland, about 8 p.m., her father's live-in girlfriend of 5 months. Misty says they went to sleep in the same room at about 10 o'clock. Haley's 3-year-old brother was also asleep in that room. Bye, babe. Haley's father got off work and arrived home sometime around 3 a.m. On February the 10th. Misty told him she just discovered that Haley was missing from her bed and the rear door to the trailer was several inches open and the screen had been propped open with cinder blocks. So Ronald and Misty called 911 at about 3:37 a.m. to report Haley's disappearance. Okay, let me say something about this. So I heard an interview that Misty did in prison. She's still in prison based on unrelated drug charges. She got like 2 25-year sentences for heroin, $1 million bond, and some probation. And Ronald went to jail for drugs also, but he's now out. But I think he got arrested again, but he got out for the first sentence. So, in this article that I'm reading about Haley that's given, specifics and things like that about the case, it says that Ronald arrived home at about 3 a.m. And Ronald and Misty called 911 at 3:37 a.m. to report Haley's disappearance. Well, the interview she did, she never mentions calling 911. However, she did say she tried to call Ronald 20 or 30 times because she woke up, saw the kitchen light was on, realized Haley was gone, tried to call Ronald 20 or 30 times. He didn't answer. And then she says Ronald showed up, and then 5 minutes later, the police showed up. So I really don't know, like, when police are called or what's accurate or who knows. But even if it's true that Misty and Ronald called 911 at 3:37 a.m. and Ronald arrived home at 3 a.m., why did it take 37 minutes to call and report Haley missing? I got questions. So the police get there and they find no sign of forced entry, but they're uncertain whether the door was locked or not in the back. Ronald and Misty insist that it was. Ronald maintains the trailer was broken into. Is that true or not? We don't know. Haley's younger brother told the investigators that a man dressed in black had come into their home that night and taken his sister. Authorities really aren't sure how much credence to give the story because he's so young. They searched everywhere. It's like they live like, like near like kind of near a marshy area from what I gather, and there are gators, of course. I mean, it's Florida, so um, and they said that no sign. They showed no sign. They came up with no sign of Haley. Um, Misty and Ronald have said that Haley would not have left by herself because she's afraid of the dark. The initial reports of her being missing, like the initial description, was that she was wearing a pink shirt and nothing else except underneath to bed. But then the police later said that Misty found the shirt while she was doing laundry. But the police, well, Misty says she found the shirt while she was doing laundry. The cops will not say where they found the shirt. So I don't know. So Misty and Ronald get married a month after Haley disappeared. Sketchy. 6 months into the marriage, Ronald then files for divorce. He just cited irreconcilable differences, mainly the stress caused by Haley's disappearance and the subsequent, investigation. Haley visited her mother every other weekend. Her mother's name is Crystal Sheffield. She and Ronald, though, were never married, and they separated 4 years before the disappearance of Haley. And they had been fighting in court over the custody of the kids. Like there was some drug use, Ronald's violent, there's some orders of protection. It was a whole nasty mess. But they were going back and forth for custody. And, they both had their issues. So I guess the judge was like picking the lesser of evils. I don't know. Crystal Sheffield said that Ronald was aggressive and was abusive. And also Misty Crosland, when she did one of her interviews in prison, said that Ronald was abusive to her and both the children, Haley and Andrew. So there's been some rumors that Misty wasn't at home, that she was with a party, she's been at a party. There were some people that came through that said that Misty was at this party and they saw her there and she had Haley with her at the party. Again, who knows? Misty later, and her older brother, Tommy Crosland Jr., accused Joe Overstreet of kidnapping Haley. Overstreet, who happens to be from Tennessee, was in Florida when the child disappeared. And he had visited the Cummings home on February 9th and left a few hours before Haley vanished. But then the next day, he hightailed it back to Tennessee. I don't know. There's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of, accusations, a lot of rumors, a lot of crap going back and forth. Everybody's pointing fingers. Nobody is taking responsibility for this little baby girl. She was in kindergarten, she was learning, how to read, how to write, just starting her life. And the police have classified it a homicide, even though nobody knows where she's at. If you guys, I don't know if this is reaching Florida, but if it is, even if it's anywhere else, not even Florida, if you guys know anything, have heard anything, been told anything, even if you think it's not true, if you think it's a rumor, whatever, if you have any information at all, or even think that you might about Haley Cummings from Satsuma, Florida, please reach out to the FBI. Please reach out to your local law enforcement. And maybe we can find her. Again, if you have any information, if you know anything, reach out to the FBI. Reach out to local law enforcement. Haley Ann Marie Cummings. Let's try to bring her home, guys. Now, let's talk about KYRON HORMAN. This case is, I've noticed a trend here, okay? Whenever, like, especially when it's missing babies, I call everybody like under the age of like 25 babies. Just I've noticed that nobody wants to tell the truth about anything. Nobody seems to be able to tell the truth. So let's talk about KYRON Richard HORMAN. He was born September the 9th, 2002. He disappeared from Skyline Elementary School in Portland, Oregon on June the 4th, 2010, after attending a science fair. Local and state police, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, conducted an exhaustive search and launched a criminal investigation, but have not uncovered any significant information regarding his whereabouts. So, as I said, his name is KYRON HORMAN. He went missing the morning of his school science fair on June the 4th, 2010, from Skyline Elementary in Portland, Oregon. He's been missing now for 12 years, almost 13. From Skyline Elementary School. His parents are Kane Horman and Desiree Young. Let's see. His parents are divorced. They had shared custody of KYRON. His mother, however, was diagnosed with kidney failure that required extensive medical treatment, I'm sure, and Kane took full custody. Kane married a lady named Terry Moulton. She's a substitute teacher, originally from Roseburg. Kane became romantically involved with Moulton around 2001, when he was in the middle of his divorce with KYRON's mom. They got married in Hawaii. And then Moulton gave birth to a daughter, while KYRON was a student at the elementary school. So, KYRON was taken to school the morning of June 4th for a science fair. And his stepmother, Terry, stayed with him while he attended the science fair. Terry stated that she left the school around 8:45 and that she last remembered seeing KYRON walking down the hall to his first class. However, KYRON was never seen in that first class and was instead marked absent for the day. Terry told the police after leaving the school at 8:45, she ran errands to 2 different Fred Meyer grocery stores until about 10:10. So from 8:45 a.m. to 10:10 a.m., she went to two grocery stores, Fred Meyer, two grocery stores that are exactly the same chain. That's odd. And then between then and 11:39, she stated that she was driving her daughter around town in an attempt to use the motion of the vehicle to soothe the toddler's earache. Terry said that then she went to the local gym and exercised until about 12:40. By 1:21, she had arrived home and posted photos of KYRON at the science fair on Facebook. At 3:30 p.m., Terry and her husband Kane walked with their daughter to the bus stop to meet KYRON. The bus driver told them that the boy had not boarded the bus and to call the school to ask about where he is. Terry did so only to be informed by the school secretary that as far as anyone knew, KYRON had not been at school at all that day, and he had been marked absent. So the secretary then calls 911. And I'm reading this, and as a mom who raised 3 kids, it's a lot of running around to do with a toddler in tow. She went to two grocery stores. Toddler had an earache. She says that because she says she used the motion of the vehicle later to put to soothe the earache. So your child has an earache and you're getting her in and out at all these places. And that doesn't make sense. And then at 3:30 she goes to, well, no, at what time was it? At 12:40ish she went to the gym. Where's your toddler with an earache at this point? Just asking. They searched extensively and focused on a 2-mile radius around the elementary school on Suave Island, approximately 6 miles away. Law enforcement did not disclose the reasons for searching the area where they did, which included a search of the Suave Island Bridge. On June 9th, the Horman family, who had initially refused to speak with media, released a statement. Asking everybody basically just to search your cars, your buildings, your properties. On June the 12th, around 300 trained rescuers were on the ground searching wooded areas near the school. The search for KYRON, which spanned 10 days, was the largest in Oregon history and included over 1,300 searchers from Oregon, Washington, and California. A reward posted for information leading to the discovery of KYRON, which was initially $25,000, expanded to $50,000 in late July. So, in the midst of the search for KYRON, Kane was reportedly told by the investigators that Terry had offered their landscaper, Rodolfo Sanchez, a lot of money to kill her husband. So now KYRON's missing, and now it's been reported by the officers tell Kane, KYRON's dad, that his wife has offered their landscaper a lot of money to kill him. Sanchez testified to this in a deposition that Terry approached him to help her kill her husband in January 2010, 5 months prior to KYRON's disappearance. Terry, of course, denies this. Investigators convinced Sanchez to confront Terry while wearing an audio surveillance device, but they were unable to obtain any evidence and could not make the arrest. Kane filed for divorce on June 28th and retained an restraining order against Terry. The divorce was granted, and Terry was eventually granted supervised visitation with her daughter. During this whole time, Terry failed 2 separate polygraph examinations regarding the disappearance of KYRON. In August, it was announced that law enforcement was searching for an individual allegedly seen by 2 witnesses sitting inside Terry's truck outside Skyline Elementary the day of the disappearance. They still have not identified the person that was sitting in the truck on the day that KYRON went missing. They have subpoenaed friends of Terry. They have searched properties. They've searched cars. Came in for questioning. It's on the day of KYRON's disappearance. Spicer, which is one of her friends, abruptly left work gardening for a homeowner on Germantown Road in northwest Portland around 11:30 and returned around 90 minutes later. She also allegedly helped Terry purchase an untraceable cell phone. During this time, she told journalists that there's this horror that my friend is going through, and if I thought for a second that she was capable of foul play, I would not have been there. She would not have been my best friend in the first place. They have court hearings. They are subpoenaed. Search efforts have been underway. They've gotten over 4,000 tips. In 2017, it was reported by Portland Station that a secret grand jury panel continued to hear evidence in KYRON's disappearance and had convened on multiple occasions. The case is described as still active and ongoing. The police have conducted many searches multiple times at the elementary school. You know, KYRON's mother filed a civil lawsuit against Terry, claiming she was responsible for the disappearance of KYRON. The lawsuit attempted to prove that Terry had kidnapped KYRON the day he disappeared. Young sought $10 million in damages. So Terry tried to delay the lawsuit, which was denied by the judge. It's refused to answer. Okay, among these questions were several regarding Spicer's whereabouts on June 4th. She declined to identify a photo of KYRON, whether she had met him or whether she knew. Okay, or whether she knew his father, Kane. So this woman, Spicer, is a friend of Terry's, and she refuses to say if she even knows KYRON or Kane, but she's such good friends. Doesn't make sense. Basically, they know that Terry's involved and that Terry is completely responsible, but they just have no proof. So, and now, so guys, if you know anything, again, like I said about Haley Cummings, if you know anything at all about KYRON HORMAN or what might have happened to him, no matter how big, how small, no matter if you think if it's irrelevant or it isn't, if you have anything, please contact your local law enforcement or contact the FBI or contact the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Let's bring these babies home, guys. This is so unacceptable. We've got to do better. We've got to protect our babies, even from their own parents, if need be. Also, I'm going to talk about one more, and this one is kind of near, it's from my hometown. There was a little boy back in 1983, March 2nd, 1983. His name is David Warner. He is 12. Well, he was 12 years old at the time of the disappearance. He went missing from Jefferson City, Tennessee, which is where I'm from. He was born January 30th, 1971. He grew up in Tennessee. He had blonde hair, brown eyes. He was between 5'2" and 5'5" and weighed 110 pounds. He went by the nickname Little David, and he suffered from epilepsy. Basically, family dynamics. He was close to his family. He, at the time of his disappearance, he attended 4th grade at Jefferson City Elementary. People describe him as being bright, streetwise, and a pleasant boy. On March the 2nd, 1983, David was last seen in Jefferson County, Tennessee. On that day, he told his loved ones that he was going to a church function up the street from his home. While he did go to that church function, he did not go inside, and he ended up going to Druthers Restaurant to get a hamburger. After eating, he headed to a friend's house where they watched TV until about 7. By that point, David told his friend he was going home. His home was 30 yards from his friend's house. Somehow, David has never been seen or heard from again. It wasn't until the next morning that David's family realized that he never came home. They found his bed arranged to make it look like he was sleeping in it. Initially, they thought he had just spent the night at his friend's house, as he often did. And after realizing he was nowhere to be found, his family reported his disappearance. Currently, authorities believe David was abducted and subsequently unalived, though they have little to no evidence to point to any clues to his ultimate fate. As of now, David would be in his 50s. Unfortunately, there has not been any leads or any new clues as to what happened. If anyone out there knows even the tiniest, seemingly most insignificant clue to David, please contact the Jefferson City Police Department in Tennessee, which is 865-475-3730. 3482. That is the Jefferson City Police Department, Tennessee. You can contact the FBI. You can contact the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This is happening way too often, guys. So, and this was just 3, and I was looking on missing and exploited children website. It's unreal. It is absolutely unreal how many of these children just seemingly vanish with no trace of anything. It's heartbreaking. We've got to do better. We've got to protect ours. We've got to do better, guys. We have all been looking for summer wells for the last 2 years now. 2 years almost. June 15th will be 2 years. And we're no further now than we were on June the 16th, 2021. We still have no more information than we did the day after. It's sad. These babies never even had a chance to start their lives, to live their lives, it's heartbreaking. Guys, if you know anything about the missing kids that we've talked about tonight, 5-year-old Haley Cummings from Satsuma, Florida, 7-year-old KYRON HORMAN from Portland, Oregon, 12-year-old David Warner from Jefferson City, Tennessee, 5-year-old Summer Moon Utah Wells from Rogersville, Tennessee. There's just so many that we have no answers. And that's unacceptable. I mean, we got to do better, guys. We absolutely got to do better. We got to protect our babies, especially in situations where they're in families that even their own family doesn't protect them, like Summer Wells, sadly. We've got to do something. We've got to protect these babies better. Even, like I said, even if that means we got to protect them from their moms, their dads, their families, whatever. These babies deserve so much better than, just being on another missing poster and having no closure, None of these missing kids, the ones I've named, the ones I haven't named, they didn't deserve any of this. And, we got to stop dropping the ball. And I've noticed, like with Haley, with KYRON, with David, with Summer, the longer they're missing, the less people seem to talk about them. So the less people talk about them, then the further and further away they get. We can't do that. We cannot do that. Keep their name out there. Keep their face out there. Keep their stories out there. If you have a story, if you have a missing person that you want to tell the story, let me know. I'll bring you up on panel. You can tell your story. If you have, like I said, a missing mom, a missing child, a missing whoever that you have no answers for, and you want to say it on a public platform, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll bring you up on the panel and you can tell your story. Guys, if you have any information about any missing kid, call the FBI. Call your local law enforcement. And one more thing, guys, if you see something, say something. If you are associated with anybody and you see the mistreatment or the neglect or the abuse of children, say something. Say something. Call DCS. Call CPS. Call whoever you need to. Say something. Because it's when we see something and we don't say anything, then we end up with missing babies. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. If you know of children that are in terrible situations, that are in that is unsafe, that is unhealthy, say something. Get them help. And maybe if we all start being more mindful and, saying something if we see something and doing everything we can to protect these babies. Maybe we can bring some of these babies home and maybe prevent future babies from going missing. It hurts my heart. It's been on my heart today. Also, I did a tarot reading, and I asked Rods about the Haley Cummings case, and I asked questions about the dad and the stepmom, and I got some interesting answers. I'll probably upload that tomorrow. The answers I got, though, are not the answers that most people think. I was shocked myself. But I think I'm going to upload that one maybe tomorrow. Because like I said, if you have any input on any of these missing kids, even ones I didn't name, ones that you know of, ones that you see on the news, or you go to, you see on these websites on Facebook, whatever no matter how big or how small, please call local law enforcement. Please call the FBI. If you don't want to call, tell me, I'll call. You can message me and I'll call. Like I said, if there's a story that you need to tell about somebody that's missing and you want to speak about it, let me know. You can come up here and I'll let you speak about it. Let's do better, guys. Let's do better. Let's do better at protecting our babies. Let's do better at, like I said, if you see something, say something. We all need to try to do better. Sometimes us adults, us strangers are the only protection and hope that these babies have. So we need to say something. We need to try to do better, be more mindful, be more vigilant, and be accountable. And if you see, at-risk kids or something just doesn't sit right with you, be accountable and say something. Call somebody, call it in. So maybe we can avoid losing any more babies. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a blessed night. Simply be kind. Like I said, FBI, local law enforcement for Summer Wells, 1-800-TBI-FIND. FBI, call your local law enforcement, unless your local law enforcement is Hawkins County, and then don't do that. Save yourself the trouble, because that's a wasted call. Just call somebody else. Let's work together. Let's figure this out. Let's get these kids home. I love you guys. Like I said, be kind. Love each other, guys. Love each other. Don't judge each other. The world's full of hate. The world's full of judgment. Don't be that person. Like I said, I'm here. My inbox is open. My link to my YouTube is in the link tree. I love you guys. Share, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.